Our 3 channels are responsible for helping more than 300 hungry and homeless children in Africa, impacting more than 8 countries. We don't ask for money, we just ask that you like, subscribe, watch the video until the end, and share it, as you will be helping us with our project. May God be present in your life. What if a simple act of conviction could trigger something that would shake not just a soul, but an entire city? Springfield, Iowa, June 12, 2025. A small town where Catholics and Muslims lived side by side, but rarely hand in hand. Where faith sometimes seemed more like a barrier than a bridge. That day, an imam would make a choice that would change everything. His name was Rashid Mansouri. And this is the story of how an act of faith turned into something much greater. It was a morning like any other at the Asila Mosque. The morning sun filtered through the tall windows, creating geometric patterns on the prayer rug. Rashid Mansouri, 45, walked the mosque's corridors with the familiarity of someone who knows every sacred corner. Rashid had become the community's imam 3 years earlier, when he moved to Springfield with his wife, Amina, and their 2 children. He was a kind man, with a well-groomed beard and eyes that held the serenity of someone who found peace in submission to Allah. His neighbors respected him, even those who didn't share his faith. That morning, as he prepared for far prayer, something caught his eye. In the corner of the study, near the shelves of Quran books, there was an object that shouldn't have been there. A small porcelain statue. A woman in a blue robe, her hands clasped in prayer, her serene gaze turned skyward. Rashid stopped. His heart raced slightly. He knew that figure. Over the past 3 years in Springfield, he had seen countless such images in the homes of Catholic neighbors, in stores, at the hospital. It was Our Lady. How had she gotten there? Who had left her in his mosque? He looked around. The mosque was empty. The morning silence amplified the sound of his breathing. His hands trembled slightly as he picked up the statue. Rashid, inner thought. How did this get here? Is someone trying to provoke us? Or was it accidentally forgotten? For a moment, just a moment, he studied the figure's serene face. There was something peaceful in those porcelain features. Something that resonated with his own understanding of Maryam, the pure mother mentioned in the Quran. But doubt soon turned to conviction. Rashid, whispering to himself, "This cannot stay here. This is a holy place for Allah." There was no malice in his heart. Only the firm certainty that his mosque was no place for images, especially not for figures that others worshipped. Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, was absolute. There was no room for ambiguity. He walked to the trash can at the back of the mosque, hesitated for just a second, and deposited the porcelain image inside. The sound was barely audible. A small tap as the porcelain touched the empty bottom of the trash can. Rashid returned to his preparations. He washed his hands, performed his ritual ablutions, and knelt toward Mecca. The prayer flowed from his lips as always, the sacred Arabic words filling the silent space. But something had changed, though he didn't know it yet. Because sometimes, miracles begin in the most unlikely places. Sometimes, they begin in the trash. 3 days passed. Springfield continued its routine, children going to school, merchants opening their shops on Main Street, the bell of St. Joseph's Church echoing at 6 in the morning, followed, 20 minutes later, by the call to prayer from the Asila Mosque. Rashid noticed he hadn't been sleeping well since Tuesday. He couldn't pinpoint the reason. His dreams were different, fragmented, filled with blue light. On Friday, during Jummah prayer, when the mosque was full of worshippers, the first strange thing happened. Little Ahmed, the 6-year-old son of carpenter Khalil, began to cry in the middle of prayer. Not the cry of an angry child, but something deep, as if he were seeing something the adults couldn't see. Khalil, whispering urgently, "Ahmed, what is it? What happened?" Ahmed, through tears, "Daddy, there's a beautiful lady over there in the corner. She's sad." "Why is she sad?" Khalil looked in the direction his son was pointing. There was no one. The corner was empty except for the trash cans. Rashid, who had interrupted his prayer to calm the situation, felt a shiver run down his spine. The corner. The same corner where there was. Rashid, gently, to Ahmed. "There's no one there, young man. Maybe it's just your imagination." But Ahmed kept pointing, his eyes wide and insistent. "Ahmed. She's wearing a blue robe, Uncle Rashid. And she's looking at the trash can." Rashid's blood ran cold. After the prayer, when everyone had left, Rashid walked to the corner. The trash can was empty. It had been emptied on Thursday, as always. But when he knelt there, he felt something inexplicable. A presence. A softness in the air, as if someone had prayed there for hours. And then he saw it. On the carpet, exactly where Ahmed had pointed, there was a stain. Not an ordinary stain, but a circular pattern, as if tears had fallen there. Tears that had somehow left the fabric cleaner, brighter. Rashid touched the spot with his fingertips. The carpet was warm. That night, he couldn't sleep. The clock read 3:33 a.m. when Rashid woke. There was no alarm, no noise. Just a deep sense that he needed to wake up. The house was silent. Amina slept soundly beside him, and the children were in their rooms. But Rashid felt as if someone had called his name. He got up and walked to the window. Springfield slept under a starry sky, the empty streets bathed in the yellow light of streetlights. Everything was normal. But when he returned to bed, he closed his eyes and saw. It was a garden. Not like the gardens Rashid knew, but something beyond imagination. Roses that glowed with their own light, a crystal-clear fountain whose sound sounded like celestial music. The air smelled of jasmine and something indefinable, something pure. And there, near the fountain, she was. There was no doubt. It was the same figure from the porcelain image, but alive, radiant. Her eyes were the deepest blue Rashid had ever seen, filled with a loving sadness that seemed to embrace the entire world. She didn't speak, but Rashid heard her voice as if the words were born within his own heart. "My son, why do you weep for the image when I am here?" Rashid, in the dream, realized tears were streaming down his face. I didn't know. I am Maryam. I am the mother the Quran honors, the servant who said yes to the Most High. I came not to divide, but to unite. My son, whom you call Isa, taught that love knows no boundaries. The garden began to dissolve, but the voice continued. Look for the light where you saw darkness. And remember, sometimes God uses even our mistakes to write His mercy. Rashid woke with real tears in his eyes. For the first time in years, he didn't know what to think. If you feel this story touches something deep within you, perhaps it's time to connect with more stories like this. Subscribe and let the light shine in. Saturday morning, June 15th. Springfield woke up different. At Romano Bakery, Italian Sofia Benedetti was preparing bread when she noticed something strange. The dough she had left to rise overnight had spontaneously formed the shape of a rose. Not just any rose, but a rose with 12 perfect petals. Sofia, to herself, in Italian. Madonna mia, questo non è normale. 15 blocks away, at Mercy General Hospital, Catholic nurse Maria Santos arrived for her morning shift to find the pediatric ward in turmoil. Overnight, 3 critically ill children had shown inexplicable improvement. Dr. Richardson, skeptically, to Maria. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen in 20 years of medicine. The boy with severe pneumonia was almost intubated yesterday. This morning, his lungs are clear. It doesn't make sense. Maria Santos. Doctor, yesterday was the feast of Saint Anthony. And the 3 children who got better. They all have mothers who pray the rosary. Dr. Richardson. Maria, you know I respect your faith, but coincidences. Maria Santos, interrupting gently. Would you call it a coincidence if they were your own children? Dr. Richardson fell silent. Meanwhile, at the Asylum Mosque, Rashid tried to maintain his normal routine. But he couldn't get the dream out of his head. And there was something else. Since Tuesday, more people had been coming to the mosque. Not just Muslims, but curious people of other faiths, people passing by on the street who felt inexplicably drawn to come in. Amina, Rashid's wife, worried. Habibi, you're different. You haven't eaten properly in 3 days. What's going on? Rashid. I don't know, Amina. It's like something has changed, but I can't explain what. That afternoon, Father Thomas from St. Joseph's Church appeared at the mosque door. Father Thomas. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Rashid. Rashid, surprised. Wa alaikum assalam, Father. What a surprise to see you here. Father Thomas. We need to talk. Something is happening in our city. Something inexplicable. They sat in the small garden between the mosque and the church, 2 men of faith separated by doctrine, united by a common sense that the divine was moving in mysterious ways. Father Thomas. Since Tuesday, I've been receiving strange reports. People talking about dreams with Our Lady. Children who've never seen an image of Mary describing her in perfect detail. And you? Have you noticed anything different? Rashid hesitated. Tell you about the dream? About the image he'd thrown away? Rashid. Father, if I told you something that seems impossible, would you believe it? Father Thomas. My friend, I serve a God who turned water into wine and rose from the dead. The impossible is my specialty. Rashid told him everything. The found image, the decision to throw it away, the dream, the child who saw a lady in blue exactly where the image had been discarded. Father Thomas listened to him silently, without judgment. Father Thomas. Brother Rashid, you acted according to your faith. There is no sin in that. But perhaps God is using this moment to teach us something. Rashid. But I don't understand. If she is who I think she is, why would she appear to me? I am Muslim. I believe that Isa, Jesus, was a prophet, but not the Son of God. Father Thomas. And she, in your dream, asked you to change your beliefs? Rashid pondered. Rashid. No. She said she came to unite, not to divide. She called me her son. The 2 men were silent, contemplating the weight of those words. That night, the dreams spread. Teresa Gonzalez, the street cleaner who had collected the mosque's trash on Thursday, woke at 3:33 a.m. to a clear vision, a woman in blue, standing next to the garbage truck, pointing to something inside. Teresa, to her husband Jose. Jose, I know this will sound crazy, but I have to go back to the dump. Now. Jose. Teresa, it's 4 in the morning. What dump? Why? Teresa. I can't explain it. But I know I need to find something that was in the mosque's trash. 12-year-old David Chen, the son of Chinese immigrants and an avowed atheist, woke at the same time with the vivid memory of a woman speaking to him in perfect Mandarin, saying, My son, faith is not about the words we say, but about the love we live. Mrs. Eleanor Patterson, a 78-year-old widow and lifelong devout Catholic, had the most elaborate dream of all. She found herself in a vast cathedral made entirely of light, where people of all religions prayed together, and a motherly voice whispered, See how they love one another. By the time the sun rose on June 16, at least 15 people had had similar dreams. All involving a lady in blue. all waking up at exactly 3:33 a.m. and all feeling an inexplicable compulsion to head to the Asylum Mosque. Around 7 in the morning, Rashid found a small, silent crowd outside the mosque. They weren't protesters or protesters. They were ordinary people of varying ages and ethnicities, simply waiting. Teresa stood there, holding a small canvas bag. Eleanor Patterson leaned on her cane, her eyes shining with an anticipation she couldn't explain. David Chen stood with his parents, all looking confused but determined. Rashid, approaching the group. Can I help you with something? Teresa, with respectful urgency. Mr. Imam, please. I work garbage collection. On Thursday, I picked up the trash from your mosque. And last night, I dreamed about a lady who told me to come back here. She said there was something important in what was thrown away. Rashid felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Eleanor Patterson. I dreamed about her too, my son. She told me that true faith knows no walls. David Chen, shyly. My parents don't believe in dreams, but she spoke to me in Chinese. And I'd never seen that lady before, but I knew who she was. One by one, they shared their experiences. 15 people. 15 dreams. All with the same lady. All with the same message of unity. Rashid felt his legs weak. He invited the group into the mosque, something he rarely did with non-Muslims. Rashid, perhaps we should look together for what you were instructed to find. Teresa opened the canvas bag. Inside, carefully wrapped in cloth, was the porcelain image of Our Lady. Intact. Without a trace, despite having been thrown in the trash and transported in the garbage truck. Teresa. When I found her, she was glowing. Not an ordinary light, but something heavenly. The entire garbage section around her was lit up. Eleanor Patterson fell to her knees. Eleanor, whispering, "Hail Mary, full of grace." To everyone's surprise, David Chen, the atheist boy, knelt beside her. David. She told me in the dream that prayer is not about what language we speak to God in, but about how we open our hearts. Rashid held the image with trembling hands. This time, he didn't feel conflict. He felt recognition. Rashid, quietly. And remember Miriam in the book, when she withdrew from her family to a place in the east. Quran, chapter 19. Father Thomas, arriving at that moment. And the angel answered her, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you." Luke, chapter 1. The two religious leaders looked at each other. For the first time, their scriptures seemed not in opposition, but in harmony. Rashid. Maybe it belongs to both. In a small town like Springfield, extraordinary news travels faster than the wind. By noon on Saturday, the story had already reached the ears of Frank Murphy, a retired journalist and nominal Catholic who covered local events for the Springfield Weekly. Frank was known for his healthy skepticism and for never publishing a story he couldn't back up with facts. Frank, on the phone, to the editor. "Bob, I know how this sounds, but there's something going on here. 15 people with the same dream? An image found intact in the trash? And now there are lines of people wanting to get into the Muslim mosque to see a Catholic statue." Because that's what was happening. The news had spread, and people were coming from all over Springfield. Not just Catholics or Muslims, but Protestants, Jews, agnostics, people who hadn't set foot in a place of worship in years. B.O.B., editor, skeptical. "Frank, are you telling me that a Muslim imam is allowing Catholics to worship a statue inside his mosque?" Frank. "Not exactly worship, Bob. More like reverence. The imam is there, overseeing everything. He explains to each visitor who Miriam is in Islam, and the Catholics tell them who Our Lady is. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. By 3 p.m., the small crowd had grown to over 100 people. Rashid, initially nervous, began to notice something extraordinary happening. People weren't just looking at the image. They were talking to each other. Mrs. Patterson was teaching basic Arabic to Ahmed. Teresa was learning about the 5 daily prayers with Khalil. David Chen was explaining scientific concepts to Muslim children who had never encountered evolutionary theories. Rashid, to Father Thomas. This isn't what I expected when I threw that image away. Father Thomas. My friend, God's ways are rarely what we expect. But they are always what we need. That evening, something more extraordinary happened. 9-year-old Sarah Mitchell, the daughter of Protestant parents and suffering from advanced leukemia, asked her parents to visit the mosque. Sarah. Mommy, the lady in my dream said that if I came here and touched the image, I would feel better. The parents, desperate after months of treatment without improvement, decided to try. When Sarah touched the porcelain image, in front of dozens of witnesses, something no one expected happened. A soft light enveloped the child for about 10 seconds. Not a dramatic or artificial light, but something warm, golden, that seemed to emanate from Sarah herself. She smiled, the first genuine smile in months, and said, "Sarah, now I know I'm going to get better." Her white blood cell count, checked at the hospital 3 hours later, had doubled. The doctors had no explanation. Not everyone in Springfield took the events with faith. Dr. James Hoffman, head of the psychology department at the University of Iowa and a Springfield resident, decided to personally investigate what he called mass hysteria with religious elements. Dr. Hoffman, interviewing Eleanor Patterson. Ms. Patterson, do you have a history of vivid dreams? Do you take any medication that might alter your sleep patterns? Eleanor. Doctor, I'm 78 years old. I've had all kinds of dreams in my life. But never a dream that repeated itself to 15 other people on the same night, at the same time. Dr. Hoffman. The human mind is capable of amazing synchronicities when exposed to the same social stimulus. Eleanor, gently. Son, do you have children? Dr. Hoffman. Yes. A daughter. Eleanor. What if your daughter came home and said she saw something impossible, but looked into your eyes with absolute certainty? Would you believe her? Dr. Hoffman didn't answer immediately. Eleanor, continuing. Sometimes, doctor, the heart sees things the mind hasn't yet learned to comprehend. Meanwhile, not the entire Muslim community was comfortable with the events. Hassan al-Rashid, the mosque's most conservative member, approached Rashid with legitimate concerns. Hassan. Brother Rashid, I understand that Maryam is honored in the Quran, but this is smacking of shirk, idolatry. People are worshipping a physical image. Rashid. Hassan, have you seen anyone worshipping the image? Hassan. No, but. Rashid. They come, they look, they pray in their own traditions, and they leave closer to each other. Since when is closeness between the children of Abraham a bad thing? Hassan, hesitantly. But what if we're being deceived? What if this is a test of our faith? Rashid pondered Hassan's words all night. They were valid. How could one distinguish between a genuine miracle and a spiritual trial? The answer would come from an unexpected source. Miracles don't just happen once. Sometimes they begin when someone like you decides to share a message of hope. On Sunday morning, June 17th, Fatima al-Zahra, Hassan's 4-year-old daughter, woke up speaking a language she didn't understand. Fatima, speaking in ancient Aramaic, but with clear meaning. Mommy, the beautiful lady is calling for Daddy. Layla, Hassan's wife, was alarmed. Her daughter was speaking, but the words were incomprehensible. She ran to wake her husband. Layla. Hassan. Something is wrong with Fatima. When Hassan saw his daughter, she was sitting up in bed, eyes shining, speaking continuously in a language that sounded ancient and sacred. Hassan, desperate. Fatima, Habibti, are you okay? What are you saying? The child stopped, looked directly into her father's eyes, and spoke in perfect Arabic. Fatima. Baba, Mrs. Maryam wants to speak to you. She said you're scared, but there's no need to be. She's Isa's mother, and mothers protect all their children. Hassan felt his legs weaken. Hassan, how do you know about Maryam? Who taught you this? Fatima. She taught me, Baba. In the dream. She showed how all prayers ascend to the same heaven, even when the words are different. Hassan scooped up his daughter and ran to the mosque. When they arrived, they found Rashid kneeling before the image, not in worship, but in deep contemplation. Hassan, voice breaking. Brother Rashid, my daughter, she's saying things she hasn't learned. Rashid looked at little Fatima, who smiled and waved, as if she'd known him for years. Fatima, to Rashid. Uncle Rashid, you said you did the right thing. She needed to step out of the small box and into the big heart. In that moment, Hassan understood. This wasn't about abandoning his faith. It was about expanding his understanding. Hassan, whispering, Astaghfirullah, forgive me, Allah, for doubting your mysterious ways. The news about Sarah Mitchell had reached the ears of other desperate families. On Monday, June 18th, Maria Elena Vasquez brought her 7-year-old son Pablo, who had been born with a severe hearing loss. Maria Elena, to Rashid, in broken Spanish mixed with English. Please, sir, my child can't hear. The doctors say, impossible to fix. But little Sarah, she got better. Can I try? Rashid, now more comfortable with his role as guardian of something greater than his own faith, nodded. Rashid, of course, my sister. But understand, I don't perform miracles. If something happens, it will be by the will of the Almighty. Maria Elena knelt with Pablo before the image. She began to pray in Spanish, tears streaming down her face. Maria Elena, Virgencita, Madre mia, please help my baby hear the world. Pablo, who had never shown any interest in religious objects, reached out his small hand and gently touched the image. The silence that followed was absolute. And then, for the first time in his 7 years of life, Pablo turned to his mother and said, with crystal clarity, Pablo, Mama, puedo escuchar tu corazón. Maria Elena fainted. Pablo laughed, a sound she had never heard before, but which she instantly recognized as her son's laugh. Dr. Richardson, who had been called in urgently, confirmed the impossible. Pablo's eardrums, which had been malformed since birth, were now perfect. Dr. Richardson, to Frank Murphy, who was documenting everything. Frank, in 20 years of medicine, I've never seen spontaneous regeneration of bone tissue and tympanic membrane. It doesn't happen. It can't happen. But it did. The news began to filter out of Springfield. On Wednesday, June 20th, Little Springfield was on the world map. Television crews from Des Moines, Chicago, and even CNN had arrived. The small parking lot of the Asylum Mosque was packed with news vans and cameras. CNN reporter, to Rashid. Imam Mansouri, critics are saying this is an elaborate staged stunt to promote artificial religious harmony. How do you respond to these accusations? Rashid, calmly. I respond by inviting these people to come here, to speak to the families, to examine the healed children. The truth needs no defense, it defends itself. But with the media attention came the opposition. Small but vocal protests began to form. Some fundamentalist Christians accused the Catholic Church of dangerous syncretism. Some conservative Muslims from other cities questioned Rashid's orthodoxy. Reverend Marcus Stone, pastor of the local Baptist church, in an interview, "I don't question that something extraordinary is happening, but we must be careful not to confuse supernatural phenomena with doctrinal truth." Sheikh Omar Hassan, from Des Moines, by phone. "Brother Rashid may be well-intentioned, but allowing the veneration of images in a mosque is problematic from an Islamic perspective." The pressure was mounting. Rashid spent sleepless nights praying, seeking guidance. It was then that the third miracle occurred. And this one would change everything. Dr. James Hoffman had arrived at the mosque on Thursday with a rigorous scientific plan. Monitoring equipment, infrared cameras, electromagnetic field meters. He was determined to debunk what he considered a collective delusion. Dr. Hoffman, to Rashid, "Imam, I ask your permission to conduct some tests. Nothing invasive, just to scientifically document what's happening." Rashid, "Doctor, the truth fears no investigation. Do what you must." Dr. Hoffman discreetly set up his equipment around the area where the image was positioned. For 3 hours, he documented everything: temperature, humidity, magnetic fields, light patterns. Everything was normal. Dr. Hoffman, to himself, "Of course. Exactly as expected." But at 3:33 p.m., exactly 12 hours after the time of the collective dreams, something changed. All the equipment began registering simultaneous anomalies. The temperature around the image rose 3 degrees. The electromagnetic meters showed impossible spikes. The infrared cameras picked up a heat source that had no identifiable physical origin. And then, in front of 40 witnesses and 3 television cameras, the image began to water. Not drops of water. Tears that looked like perfumed oil, slowly running down the porcelain cheeks. Dr. Hoffman, whispering in disbelief, This is impossible." Frank Murphy, who was filming the entire thing, stepped closer to capture the moment. What his cameras captured would be reproduced millions of times in the days to come. Real tears, of unknown composition, on a porcelain statue. Frank, narrating live. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm witnessing something that I have no words to describe. An image is crying. It's not an illusion. It's not a trick of the light. I'm seeing it happen." But the most extraordinary moment came when little Fatima, Hassan's daughter, walked up to Dr. Hoffman and touched his hand. "Fatima, Uncle Doctor, you don't need to understand. Sometimes it's better to just feel." Dr. Hoffman looked into the child's eyes and, for the first time in years, felt something he had forgotten existed: awe at the mystery. Dr. Hoffman, voice breaking, I need to review my data." That night, Rashid was alone in the mosque, contemplating all that had happened over the past week. The image of Mary stood before him, now positioned respectfully in a special niche he had created. The statue's tears had stopped, but the fragrance lingered, a sweet scent, like roses and jasmine, that seemed to emanate not from the porcelain, but from the very air. Rashid, speaking to himself, "Ya Allah, what are you teaching me?" As if in answer, he felt a presence. Not threatening, but deeply maternal. He closed his eyes and, this time awake, heard the voice clearly. Voice of Mary. "My son, you honored me even when you thought you rejected me. Your loyalty to the one God is pure. But love does not diminish when divided, it multiplies." Rashid, "But I am an imam. How can I explain this to my community? How can I explain that you are here, with us?" Maria's voice. "The same way you would explain why Allah chose a young virgin to be the mother of his prophet. The same way you would explain why the Quran mentions me more often than any other woman. I did not come to change your faith, Rashid. I came to purify it." Rashid, what should I do? Maria's voice. Remain who you are. A faithful servant of Allah. A shepherd to your flock. A bridge between hearts. And remember, even when I seem to be in the trash, I am still in the arms of the Father. When Rashid opened his eyes, he felt a peace he hadn't known since childhood. There was no doubt, no inner conflict. There was only a deep certainty that he was exactly where he was supposed to be, doing exactly what he was supposed to do. Friday, June 22nd. What began as a local event had transformed into something much larger. More than 1,000 people had arrived in Springfield. Entire families had driven hundreds of miles. People in wheelchairs. Sick children. Elderly people seeking peace. The small town was unprepared for the crowds, but something extraordinary happened. The community came together. St. Joseph's Church opened its doors to welcome visitors. Muslim families offered free meals. The local synagogue, though small, organized a soup kitchen. Even local businesses lowered their prices or donated supplies. Sophia Benedetti, from the bakery, to a reporter. I've never seen my town like this. It's like everyone remembered we're neighbors. But the miracle of the day happened when Margaret Caldwell arrived. Margaret was a 34-year-old woman, a staunch atheist, a biology teacher at the local high school. She had lost her faith after her husband's untimely death in a car accident 2 years earlier. She had come to the mosque not out of faith, but out of scientific curiosity, and perhaps, secretly, for a last shred of hope. Margaret, to Frank Murphy, who was interviewing her. I don't believe in miracles, Mr. Murphy. I'm a science teacher. I believe in evidence. But, my husband always said that sometimes life surprises us in ways that science can't yet explain. Margaret approached the image with evident skepticism. She examined the porcelain carefully, searching for tricks, hidden mechanisms, any rational explanation for the tears. Margaret, whispering, if you're real, if this is all real, I need a sign. Not for me. For him. For Tom. I need to know he's okay, wherever he is. And then it happened. The fragrance of roses suddenly intensified. Margaret felt an impossible breeze. They were inside the mosque. There was no wind. And for just a moment, a single moment, she heard her husband's unmistakable voice. Tom's voice. Maggie, I'm at peace. And you can be too. Margaret fell to her knees, sobbing. Margaret. Tom? Tom. Are you there? But the voice was gone. What remained was an overwhelming sense that love, true love, never truly dies. Margaret, still crying, but now with relief. I felt him. For 2 years, I thought he had simply disappeared. But he's okay. He's okay. Rashid approached and offered her a handkerchief. Rashid. Sometimes, sister, Allah uses even our pain to show us that His love is greater than our understanding. Margaret. I don't know if I believe in Allah, Imam. But today I believe in something. With the miracles came trouble. On Saturday, June 23rd, a group of fundamentalist Christian protesters from Iowa City arrived with signs denouncing what they called ecumenical heresy. Reverend Stone, leading the protest. This is not the true Christian faith. Mary doesn't appear in Muslim mosques. This is blasphemy. On the other side, a smaller but equally vocal group of conservative Muslims from Cedar Rapids questioned Rashid's orthodoxy. Sheikh Abdul Rahman. Brother Rashid is allowing shirk in a house of Allah. This must stop. Tensions were mounting. National media amplified both the miracles and the controversies. Springfield, which had found an inexplicable peace, now found itself divided between supporters and opponents of the events. Mayor John Matthews, at a press conference. I urge everyone to maintain peace. Springfield has always been a city of tolerance. We will not allow religious differences to destroy our harmony. But the mayor's words didn't prevent the inevitable. On Saturday afternoon, an argument between opposing protesters escalated into shoving. Police had to intervene. For a few minutes, it seemed like violence would break out. That's when something unexpected happened. 4-year-old Fatima walked out of the mosque and directly into the middle of the protesters. Her mother, Layla, ran after her, terrified. "Layla, Fatima, come back here. It's dangerous." But Fatima stopped in the center of the commotion and simply began to sing. Not a song she knew, but something that seemed to come from somewhere beyond her comprehension. A simple yet deeply penetrating melody, in a language no one recognized, but everyone, somehow, understood. Fatima, singing in a heavenly tongue, but with the meaning clear to all. "Children of the same Father, why do you fight in your common home? Love is greater than fear." One by one, the protesters stopped shouting. The sound of Fatima's small voice cut through the air like a bomb. Some began to cry. Others simply fell silent, as if waking from a bad dream. Reverend Stone, voice broken. I don't understand what's happening here." Sheikh Abdul Rahman. "Neither do I, brother. But perhaps we don't need to understand everything." After the incident with the protesters, Fatima became a central figure in the events. Not because the adults forced her to, but because she seemed to have a direct connection to what was happening. That night, she asked to speak with Rashid and Father Thomas together. Fatima, with unusual seriousness for a 4-year-old. "Uncle Rashid, Uncle Thomas, you want to tell me something important? For both of you." The two men looked at each other and nodded. "Fatima," she said, "people are getting confused because they think God has only one house. But God doesn't live in houses. He lives in hearts. And hearts don't have religion, they only have love." Father Thomas. "Fatima, dear, do you understand what you're saying?" Fatima. "Not everything, Uncle Thomas. But I know it's important." She also said that when people argue about God, they forget to be like God. Rashid. "And what is it like to be like God, Habibti?" Fatima. "To forgive always. To love more. And to remember that we are all children, even when we forget." The child's words echoed in the silence of the mosque. Two grown men, educated, experienced spiritual leaders, being taught by a girl who barely knew how to tie her own shoes. Father Thomas, whispering, "And a boy will lead them." Rashid, completing, "And we made some of them leaders who guide by our order, when they were patient." They realized they were quoting their sacred scriptures, but for the first time, the words didn't sound separate. They sounded like echoes of the same eternal truth. Sunday, June 24th. The summer solstice had brought unusual heat to Iowa, but no one in Springfield was paying attention to the weather. The national attention had attracted more extreme elements. A group of white supremacists from another state arrived with the intention of protecting American Christianity. On the other side, Islamic radicals from outside the region came to purify the mosque of Christian influence. Sheriff Daniel Kowalski, local police veteran. "Frank, in 30 years of work, I've never seen anything like this. We have extremists on both sides, national media, over 2,000 visitors in a town of 8,000. It's a ticking time bomb." The city had requested reinforcements from the National Guard. The FBI was monitoring the communications of extremist groups. Springfield was transforming from a place of miracles into a potential battleground. Mayor Matthews, in an emergency meeting. "Imam Mansouri, Father Thomas, I understand the spiritual importance of what's happening, but I need to think about everyone's safety. Perhaps we should temporarily suspend visits." Rashid. "Mayor, with all due respect, this isn't something I can control. I'm not the one making these miracles happen." Father Thomas. "And if we try to stop something God started, what kind of consequences might that have?" It was then that Mrs. Eleanor Patterson, the 78-year-old widow, made a suggestion that would change everything. Eleanor, why don't we ask her? Mayor Matthews. What do you mean, Mrs. Patterson? Eleanor, if Our Lady is truly manifesting herself here, if she is behind all this, why don't we ask her for guidance directly? Tonight. All together. Catholics, Muslims, Protestants, skeptics. Let's pray together and ask for a clear answer. The suggestion was bold. Risky. But desperate times call for desperate measures. Rashid, after long reflection. I agree. But on one condition, each person prays according to their own tradition. No one is forced to abandon their beliefs. Father Thomas. I accept. And I suggest it be at 3:30 in the morning. The time of dreams. The Virgin Mary appears where you least expect it. Just as this video reached you, miracles arrive at just the right time. Activate the bell so you don't miss the next one. Monday, June 25th, 3:30 a.m. More than 500 people gathered in the area between the Asylum Mosque and St. Joseph's Church. Catholics with rosaries, Muslims with prayer rugs, Protestants with Bibles, agnostics with open hearts, children sleeping in their parents' arms. Security was present, but discreet. Everyone knew that this night would define the future of extraordinary events in Springfield. Rashid, addressing the crowd. Brothers and sisters, we are here not to convert one another, but to seek the truth together. Each of you pray as you know, as you have learned, as you believe. But let us pray for a clear answer. Father Thomas. May He who is known by many names, but who is always the same God of love, guide us this night. The silence that followed was profound. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15. Catholics whispered Hail Marys. Muslims recited surahs from the Quran. Protestants quoted psalms. Jews present whispered prayers in Hebrew. And then, at exactly 3:33, the impossible happened again. But this time, it wasn't just at the mosque. Simultaneously, in 5 different locations in Springfield, the Catholic Church, the mosque, the Protestant church, the synagogue, and even the hospital, witnesses reported the same vision. A lady of incomparable beauty, dressed in blue and gold light, appearing for approximately 2 minutes. Not speaking, but radiating a presence that everyone described the same way, pure love. Dr. Richardson, who was on call at the hospital. I saw her in the pediatrics hallway. She passed every room, knocked on every door. When she disappeared, all the sick children were sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks. Rabbi Sarah Goldstein. In the synagogue, she appeared before the Torah, Arkansas. She didn't say anything, just bowed her head respectfully. It was as if she were paying homage to the Holy Scriptures. Reverend Stone, visibly shaken. I saw her in our church, kneeling before the altar, praying for all of us, for our unity. I objected to all of this, but I can't deny what I saw. At the mosque, the crowd witnessed something even more extraordinary. The porcelain image rose about 2 feet off the floor and remained floating for almost a minute, emanating a soft light that illuminated every face present. Catholics, Muslims, Protestants, Jews, agnostics, all bathed in the same golden light. Fatima, shouting with joy. Look! She's saying we're all brothers. And then, clear as the sound of bells, a voice they all heard, each in their own language. Voice of Mary. My children, put aside what divides you and embrace what unites you. I am the mother who intercedes, the servant who obeys, the woman who said yes to the impossible. I did not come for a religion, but for all hearts that seek the Most High. While the crowd was still processing what they had witnessed, one final miracle was about to happen. 17-year-old Johnny Breslin, the son of a conservative Protestant family, was present more out of parental pressure than personal faith. Johnny was born with severe cerebral palsy and had been in a wheelchair since he was 3. Johnny, to his mother. Mom, I want to get closer. Linda Breslin. Son, there are too many people. You could get hurt. Johnny. Please, Mom. Just a little closer. Reluctantly, Linda pushed the wheelchair through the crowd. People parted naturally, creating a path. When they reached about 10 feet from the image, Johnny did something that shocked everyone who knew him. He stood up. Not gradually, not with effort. He simply rose from the chair as if he had never been paralyzed. Linda, screaming, "Johnny, what are you doing?" Johnny, tears in his eyes, but smiling. "Mom, my legs. I can feel my legs." He took a step. Then, another. And then, before hundreds of witnesses and dozens of cameras, Johnny Breslin walked to the image of Our Lady and knelt. "Johnny, thank you. Whoever you are, thank you." There was total silence for almost 30 seconds. And then, spontaneously, the entire crowd, Catholics, Muslims, Protestants, Jews, agnostics, began to applaud. Not a specific prayer, not a doctrinal chant. Just a pure expression of gratitude in the face of the inexplicable. Dr. Hoffman, to his scientific cameras. I can't explain this. Every medical law I know says it's impossible. But I'm seeing it with my own eyes. In the days following Johnny's miracle, pressure on Rashid intensified. Islamic leaders across the country were questioning his orthodoxy. Some called for his removal as imam. Others suggested closing the mosque for purification. Imam Mahmoud Hassan, from Chicago, by phone. "Brother Rashid, you must understand the difficult position you put us in. Images in mosques, people of other faiths making pilgrimages. This contradicts fundamental principles." Rashid. "Imam Mahmoud, with all due respect, did you personally witness any of the events here?" Imam Mahmoud. "No, but..." Rashid. "Then come. See for yourself. Talk to the people. And then tell me if what is happening here diminishes our faith in Allah or strengthens it." That night, Rashid made a decision that would change his life forever. He called a meeting of all members of the local Muslim community. About 40 families gathered at the mosque. "Rashid, brothers, sisters, I know many of you are confused. I was too. For days, I questioned whether I was doing the right thing. But today, I want to share something with you." He recounted everything. From the discovery of the image to the dreams, to the miracles, to the apparitions. Hassan al-Rashid, who had initially objected. "And what do you believe we should do, Imam?" Rashid. "I believe we should do what we have always done, follow the guidance of the Quran. And the Quran teaches us that Allah sent prophets to all peoples. That Jesus, Isa, was born of Maryam by divine miracle. That we should respect the people of the book. Khalil, Ahmed's father. But what about the criticism? What if we lose our identity as a Muslim community?" Amina, Rashid's wife, speaking for the first time. "Khalil, my husband hasn't changed his prayers. He still prays 5 times a day facing Mecca. He still fasts during Ramadan. He still recites the Quran. If anything, he's become more Muslim, not less." Fatima, running to the center of the circle. "Daddy is right. Mrs. Maryam told me that being Muslim means one who submits to Allah. And she submitted to Allah when she said yes to being Isa's mother." The ensuing silence was broken by Yusuf al-Mahmoud, the oldest member of the community. Yusuf, in a wise voice. Perhaps Allah is teaching us that His mercy is greater than our small minds can comprehend." The vote was unanimous. The Springfield Muslim community decided to keep the image in the mosque, not as an object of worship, but as a symbol that divine truth can manifest itself in ways that transcend our human limitations. August 2025. 2 months after the initial events. Media attention had subsided, the crowds of pilgrims had reduced to a steady but manageable flow, and Springfield was finding its new rhythm. The image of Our Lady remained in the mosque, now in a specially designated space that Rashid called the Unity Corner. Visitors of all faiths came to pray, but always respecting the mosque's rules. Frank Murphy, in his last article on the subject. What happened in Springfield cannot be easily categorized. Was it a miracle? Was it mass psychology? Was it extraordinary coincidence? Perhaps the wrong question. The right question might be, does it matter when the outcome is love? Dr. Hoffman had published an academic paper titled Unexplained Phenomena and Social Transformation, the Springfield Case, which became one of the most cited studies in social psychology of the year. Dr. Hoffman, in an interview, "As a scientist, I can't explain everything I witnessed. But as a human being, I can't deny the positive impact. Perhaps there are things that science still doesn't understand." Rashid remained an imam, but his approach had expanded. His sermons now frequently included references to the need to understand and respect other faith traditions. Rashid, in a Friday sermon, "Brothers, the Quran teaches us that Allah created different nations and tribes so that they would know one another. Not so that they would convert, but so that they would understand one another." Father Thomas, for his part, implemented similar changes in his parish. Father Thomas, in a Sunday homily, "My dears, Jesus taught us to love our enemies. How much more should we love our neighbors who simply pray differently?" The most lasting impact of the Springfield events was visible in the children. A new generation was growing up without traditional religious prejudices. Muslim children played with Catholic children. Teenagers of different faiths studied together, dated, and dreamed of futures where religious diversity was seen as an asset, not a threat. Ahmed, now 7, to his teacher, "Mrs. Martinez, why did people think having different religions was bad before? It's like having different flowers in the same garden." Sarah Mitchell, completely cured, at 10. "My mother says I was very sick before. But I don't remember being sick. I just remember feeling loved." Pablo Vasquez, now fluent in English and Arabic, "I want to be a translator when I grow up, to help people of different religions understand each other better." Johnny Breslin, the young man who had left his wheelchair, became a natural bridge between communities. His recovery was so complete that he now played soccer at school. Johnny, in a documentary interview, "I can't explain what happened to me, but I know it was real. And I know it changed not just my legs, but my heart."